What's going on, College Football Nation? My name is Ben Ledoux, and you're watching the Voice of College Football Recruiting channel. You can follow my socials, Instagram and X, @BallByBen. And today we are continuing our 2026 Blue Chip Recruiting Class series as we hop into the number 6 player in the nation, edge rusher, Zion Elee. So as we take a look here, Zion Elee, edge rusher, 6'3.5", 220 pounds. However, I think this isn't updated because on his huddle it does say he's 235. Are we lying? I don't know, 220. So we'll stick with the 220 weight just based off his 24/7. But 24/7 Sports Composite has him as the number 6 player in the nation, the number 1 edge rusher, and the number 2 player out of Maryland. He attends St. Francis Academy in Baltimore, Maryland. No crystal ball on the right, but as you can see, he's committed to the Maryland Terrapins as of December 7th, 2024. As we scroll down a little bit, let's look at a couple other of his offers here. We got Maryland, obviously, Auburn, LSU, Nebraska, Ohio State. So great football programs there. As we get into the scouting report by Hudson Standish, a 24/7 Sports national analyst, right off the bat, it reminds him of Chop Robinson of the Miami Dolphins. So let's see if that's true. So one of the more complete edge prospects in recent memory at this stage of evaluation process ahead of his junior season. Feels as if he was built in a lab to get after the quarterback. Verified hovering around 6'4", 220 pounds, with elite length measurements and a combine testing profile that could be mistaken for a field-stretching X receiver. So this scouting report was made based off of his sophomore film, which I did get a chance to look at. So I'm interested to see the comparison between his sophomore film and his junior film, because as we get more into the scouting report, it'll tell him he doesn't really have a deep bag when it comes to his edge rushing, pass rush type of moves. He loves his swim move. He loves to just use his speed and athleticism to get around the tackle, but he also just likes to bull rush straight up with his hands. So here we go. So verified athletic markers are good enough to compare favorably against top 24/7 caliber senior edge rushers from the past 2 recruiting cycles. Outside of the athletic traits, has a natural feel for the position that allowed him to rack up 13 sacks in only 9 games. That's phenomenal for a sophomore. Even though his bag of pass rushing moves isn't deep at this stage of his development. Building blocks of his game are his lightning quick first step, closing burst, and ideal reactionary athleticism, which I completely agree with. I think that's the best sentence in this scouting report. We'll read it again. Building blocks of his game are his lightning quick first step, closing burst, and ideal reactionary athleticism. This guy's got a great motor, which I'll talk about in 2 sentences. He continually finishes plays, makes great tackles down the field. He never gives up, which I really think you need out of an edge rusher, especially if the pocket's collapsing. You want a guy running from the weak side of the field all the way across just to make a tackle. That's what you love to see out of an edge rusher. So laterally explosive and can quickly move gap to gap or chase down ball carries from the weak side, like I just mentioned. Motor consistently runs hot, and there might not be a better edge rusher in the 2026 cycle at quickly redirecting to wrap up evasive quarterbacks, which is fantastic. You'll see a lot of read options from these offenses that he goes up against, and he's able to react from straight from the running back, has his eyes on the running back, and is able to make that quick reaction and tackle the quarterback for a loss. Currently works as more of a new age speed rusher who can occasionally work speed to power, but owns the frame to put on weight and develop into a complete product while retaining the tools that make him unique. So him at 220, I agree. He needs to put on weight because your typical college edge rusher is the same height, 6'3", 6'4", but you want him at that 240, 245, 250 range. So we'll face a step up in competition as a junior after transferring from MPSSAA 1A program, Joppatown, hopefully that's correct, to Baltimore Prospect Factory St. Francis Academy. Should be viewed as a potential instant impact 3-4 outside linebacker at the next level who could eventually put on a show at the NFL Combine. We'll see. We'll see about that, Zion Elee. So let's hop straight into his huddle here. So as we take a look, you can see on the left side, defensive end, 6'5", so they gave him an extra inch, 235 pounds. And he benches 235 as well. You'll see, the bench may seem little on the low side because you typically want to be benching your body weight, if not more. But this guy's got some long arms, so it makes sense. He's got a lot of range of motion in those things. So as we hop into this junior tape, the number 1 edge in the nation, Zion Elee. So I've watched this a few times. Right off the bat, look at this man. Look at this man. Look at his arms. That's hanging down to his knees. That's fantastic. Because if he's able to get hands on first against that tackle, I feel like that's an automatic win. So he's typically going to be in this 2-point stance. Doesn't really get his hand in the dirt a lot, but right there just showing his pure athleticism, just being able to bend off that edge. What I want to see out of him in this huddle, just based off his sophomore clips and hopping into his junior tape now, I want to see speed and quickness. I want to see agility and flexibility. I want to see his hand usage. I want to see his run defending, which after watching this a few times is fantastic. His run defending, I think, is his best trait, and his first step. So I don't want to see a lot of false steps. I want to see him just hop off that line quick, fast, and not give the tackle time to react. Lined up wide here. Here he kind of gets hemmed up, but read and react, get off that block, and make that tackle in the backfield. Run defending right there. He's got great vision. I think his height definitely helps. Here, we're going to pause it because I really want to watch his motor here. So he's getting double teamed off the edge. This is a pretty good pocket for this quarterback, but he's going to step up here and try and take off and run. Zion doesn't give up, makes a diving ankle tap for the tackle. That's great. That's a great motor that they love to see at the next level. He just simply runs around those guys right there. And I think it's important to reiterate from an edge rusher's perspective is that you want the quarterback to feel you in that pocket. You want to be a menace. You want to be a presence in that backfield consistently. So that quarterback knows that he doesn't have much time. He's got to get that ball out quick. And if he's not getting it out quick, he's getting absolutely plastered. So one negative there. I think there's very little negatives to Zion's game. And I think one of them is his ability. He may be moving too fast. Maybe his motor's too high. Maybe he's got too much power, too much horsepower in him. But he kind of sometimes does overcommit a little bit on the sack. You know, it's almost like kind of in basketball when you get a wide open layup, it's so open that like you miss it because you get like, how am I so open? It's almost like if you're free run to the backfield straight at the quarterback, it's like, how can you miss that tackle? It's so easy. But I think that's easily going to be fixed up for him. Right there, block shed. He's on the quarterback. He's making his presence felt. So here on the left side, just going to use his athleticism again, going to try and beat 2 blocks, and he's still on the quarterback. He's still knocking him down. I love that out of him. So right away, his first step is very good. He's getting his hands on quick. He's driving that tackle back, free right to the backfield there, and that's just too easy. If you don't get a hat on this man, he's just going to run to the backfield every time. That quarterback's feeling that. He knows he's coming every play. Right there, being able to read and react. I want to see if his eyes were on the running back at any point. Yep, so he chops down. That's fantastic right there. I like how he chops down right there. He's in a good athletic stance. He can make the play on the running back or he can make the play on the quarterback. Overcommits a little bit. QB makes a pretty good move, but he's able to use those long arms and drag him down by the shoulder pad. That's a great play out of Zion there. Here he goes inside. You do not want to see that coming up the A-gap. He is flying up that thing. Shed block. Go get him. Yep. Great pursuit. This guy never stops working. Never stops working. And when he hits that quarterback, he's going to make you feel it. You do not want to be tackled by that man. Great run block, run shed again. I really like that. On that outside. This is great here. He's kind of just using his hands. We'll watch that again. He's using his hands to just keep this tackle kind of in front of him and still have the ability to not allow the tackle to get hands on, shed those arms whenever he wants, and get this tackle as he kind of run this outside zone, shed. Great tackle. I love that out of Zion Elee. So we got 3 down linemen here, 2 standing up. He's just going to bull rush him straight into the quarterback. That's awesome. I like his power. Even though he is a little light, I like his power. And again, we saw that read and react ability right there. That's perfect. That's perfect. So let's hop into the Maryland commits real quick after looking at that scout, after that huddle right there. So a little weak, little weaker from what we've seen in the past few guys, but I think he's a hometown kid, so I think he wants to go to his hometown, Maryland Terrapins. So here we got Zion Elee, 5-star, great pickup for the Terps here. Number 6 in the nation, obviously number 1 in the position, number 2 in the state. Fantastic, great pickup. Recruits are going to see this, and they're going to want to come, especially defensive recruits. They're going to want to come play with this guy right here And then we got Kaden Carter, linebacker, Damon Hall Jr., tight end, and Kamari Bing, corner. So it looks like Maryland's maybe going for more of a defensive freshman class coming into the 2026 season. But I don't see a lot of danger in Zion's ability to really get a lot of playing time in his freshman year, especially if he puts on some good weight. If he gets up to that 240, 245 range, 6'3", 6'5", as it says on his huddle, that's a fantastic size for an edge rusher. But I think if he does remain around that 220, 230 range, I think you can even move him to, your Sam or your Will linebacker, because I believe his ability to read and react to these players and shed blocks would make him for a fantastic linebacker. However, he is a little tall, so he couldn't really play that hybrid position. I want to give him a player comp of Kyle Hamilton. I know Kyle Hamilton typically plays your safety, and that's a completely different game from an edge rusher. But they're both 6'4". He's 220. I think they're very similar players, and I know Kyle Hamilton loves to play in the box, loves to be a play disruptor, likes to get his hands dirty, likes to be dirty, physical, has a high motor as well. So if the edge rushing position doesn't work out with the weight and everything for Zion Elee, the ability to transfer over to that linebacker position could open up a whole new world for him. I'm excited to see how Zion turns out at the next level. I'd really like to see how that class turns out too, if he's able to get some playing time in his freshman year. And I think he's got a great future, especially at that edge position once he adds on some weight. Time to start drinking some protein shakes. Well, all right, y'all. My name is Ben Ledoux. Again, you can follow my socials at BallByBen on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out, y'all.